Have you ever felt the overwhelming potential of a new year? A time when possibilities seem endless, yet past habits and lingering doubts hold you back? You're not alone. Many of us start the year with a surge of motivation, only to find ourselves slipping into old patterns. What if this year could be different? What if you could align your goals with your deepest values, creating a life of purpose, balance, and resilience? Let me share a story. There's a man I once knew, a husband, father, and professional in his mid-40s. For years, his health was an afterthought. Long hours at the office, poor sleep, and takeout meals became his normal. Then one day, a routine checkup revealed his blood pressure was dangerously high. It was a wake-up call. Instead of making drastic, unsustainable changes, he started small. Daily walks, drinking more water, and setting a consistent bedtime. Within months, his energy soared, his mind sharpened, and his relationships improved. The lesson? Small, sustainable changes can transform your health and your life. This is just one of the 8 practical goals grounded in Stoic philosophy that I'll share with you today. Each one is designed to help you thrive in 2025. Stay with me, and by the end, you'll have actionable insights to create a life aligned with your purpose. What about you? Have you experienced a moment like this? Share your story in the comments. Let's inspire and support each other. 1. Prioritize health with small, sustainable changes. Health is the cornerstone of everything we aim to achieve. Without it, even the grandest ambitions can feel out of reach. A sharper mind, more energy, and a stronger sense of purpose all begin with taking care of your body. Yet we often think of health as an all-or-nothing challenge, imagining drastic diets, grueling workouts, or unattainable routines. In reality, it's the small, intentional habits that create lasting vitality. A walk in the evening, a glass of water instead of a sugary drink, a commitment to consistent, restful sleep. These actions seem minor, but their cumulative power is transformative. In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus reminds us, the body is the soul's house. Neglecting the body is not just a physical risk, it clouds the mind, weakens our resilience, and diminishes our ability to live with purpose. The Stoics saw health as integral to the discipline of life. It's not about chasing vanity, but equipping yourself to endure challenges and pursue your highest goals. Without health, even wisdom feels distant. You may remember the story of my friend, the busy professional who faced a stark realization about his well-being. What I didn't tell you was how he started his transformation. He didn't begin with an extreme overhaul. Instead, he chose to park a block further from work, adding a few extra steps each day. He traded late-night television for a set bedtime. Bit by bit, these choices accumulated. Within weeks, his mood lifted. Within months, he felt a vitality he hadn't known in years. What appeared small at first became the foundation of something profound. Stoicism teaches us that mastery of life begins with mastery of self. If we cannot govern the simplest parts of our day, how we eat, move, and rest, how can we hope to govern our emotions, thoughts, or reactions to life's trials? Marcus Aurelius reflected on this connection. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. To prioritize health is to reclaim control. It's an act of respect for the vessel that carries your soul. Imagine for a moment that you're overwhelmed by a demanding schedule. Early mornings blur into late nights, and health feels like a luxury you can't afford. The Stoic response would be to simplify the problem. Start small. Replace perfection with persistence. Choose a single habit and commit to it unwaveringly. Perhaps it's a 10-minute walk after dinner. Not for the sake of fitness alone, but to center your mind, clear your thoughts, and honor your body. Then, focus on sleep, not as indulgence, but as preparation. The modern world glorifies hustle, yet a rested mind makes sharper decisions, solves problems faster, and faces challenges with clarity. Marcus Aurelius often woke early, but he also acknowledged the importance of rejuvenation, writing in Meditations about how the body and soul depend on harmony. And don't forget nourishment. Consider what fuels you. The Stoics would approach this with mindfulness, asking not just what tastes good, but what sustains your body for the life you wish to lead. Imagine your next meal as an investment in your purpose, a choice to energize, not to deplete. There's wisdom in remembering that life is built not on grand gestures, but on the consistency of small, deliberate actions. This is how the ancient philosophers approached their daily rituals. They sought discipline, not extremes, knowing that strength grows from steady cultivation, and so can yours. The path to better health isn't a sprint, but a series of steps, each one intentional, each one anchored in a commitment to your purpose. Reflect for a moment on what small change you could make today. Is it a single glass of water, turning off your phone an hour earlier? Whatever it is, take that step. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. You may not feel the difference immediately, but like a sculptor shaping stone, the change will emerge over time. And as you prioritize health, you'll find it's not just your body that transforms, but your mind, your spirit, and your ability to meet life with strength and purpose. Stoicism reminds us that the greatest rewards come not from seeking perfection, but from pursuing progress with wisdom and resolve. Make that progress yours. 2. Create financial freedom through intentional spending. Financial freedom is not about how much you earn, but how wisely you manage what you already have. It's about creating control over your resources so that money serves your life, not the other way around. When your spending aligns with your values, stress diminishes, and you gain the clarity to focus on what truly matters. Yet, in a world full of temptations and comparisons, staying grounded in this principle can feel like an uphill battle. The Stoics had a profound understanding of wealth and its purpose. Epictetus reminds us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. For them, financial freedom was not measured by accumulation, but by the ability to live simply, free from unnecessary desires. By focusing on needs over wants, they taught that peace of mind comes from valuing sufficiency rather than excess. Years ago, I found myself in a place where my finances felt out of control. Despite a steady income, I lived paycheck to paycheck, chasing short-term pleasures, nights out, impulsive purchases that never seemed to satisfy me. Then one day, I came across this simple Stoic principle. Know your priorities and let your spending reflect them. It struck a chord. I began tracking my expenses for the first time, and what I saw shocked me. So much of my money was flowing toward things I didn't truly value or need. It wasn't easy, but I started small. I set a budget that prioritized my long-term goals, like building an emergency fund and investing in experiences that enriched my life. Through that shift, I discovered a sense of empowerment I had never felt before. Each dollar I spent became a deliberate choice, not an automatic reaction. Over time, the stress and guilt I associated with money began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of control and purpose. Now think about your own life. Perhaps you've been caught in the cycle of earning and spending, feeling like you're always chasing but never arriving. Imagine instead having a clear plan for your finances, where every expense aligns with what matters most to you. Picture the relief of knowing you have a safety net for unexpected challenges, the freedom to say yes to opportunities without hesitation, and the peace that comes from living within your means. The Stoics believed in separating what is within our control from what is not. While we cannot predict or prevent every financial challenge, we can control how we respond. By cultivating discipline and intentionality, we reclaim power over our financial choices. This means setting clear priorities, spending on what supports your well-being, and cutting out what doesn't. If financial freedom feels overwhelming, start small. Begin by tracking your expenses for a month, not to judge yourself, but to understand where your money is going. Then, ask yourself, do these choices reflect my values? Are they helping me build the life I want? From there, create a simple budget that prioritizes what matters, whether it's saving for a family trip, paying off debt, or investing in education. This approach isn't about deprivation. The Stoics didn't advocate living miserably. They valued sufficiency and balance. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Financial freedom is not about restricting yourself endlessly, but about cutting out the unnecessary to make space for the meaningful. As you take steps toward financial clarity, remember that perfection isn't the goal. There will be moments when temptations arise, when unexpected expenses disrupt your plans. What matters is staying aligned with your purpose. Each intentional choice strengthens your resolve and moves you closer to a life of freedom and stability. In 2025, let financial freedom become more than just a buzzword. Let it be the foundation for a life where your resources support your dreams rather than weigh you down. Through small, consistent actions, inspired by Stoic wisdom, you can transform not just your finances, but your entire perspective on what it means to live well. The path begins today, with the next choice you make. Will it align with the life you truly want? 3. Build emotional resilience through mindfulness. Life is unpredictable. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable, but your response to them shapes your path forward. Emotional resilience is the skill that allows you to face adversity with clarity and calmness. It's not about avoiding difficulties, but about learning to adapt and thrive in their midst. Mindfulness, a practice rooted in ancient philosophy, sharpens your ability to regulate emotions and see challenges for what they are, temporary and often growth opportunities. The Stoics deeply understood the value of resilience. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the need to maintain inner peace, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control external circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. This shift in focus, from what happens to how we react, empowers us to face life's storms without being consumed by them. A colleague of mine embodied this principle during a particularly challenging time. He had been working tirelessly toward a promotion, but when the opportunity arose, he was passed over for someone else. The disappointment could have easily consumed him, bitterness, frustration, even self-doubt. But instead, he chose to pause. Each morning, he would spend 10 minutes meditating, reflecting on what was within his control. Slowly, his perspective shifted. Instead of focusing on the perceived injustice, he redirected his energy toward refining his skills and building stronger relationships with his team. Months later, when another promotion came up, he was the clear choice. His resilience not only preserved his mental peace, but ultimately advanced his career. When faced with adversity, emotions often run high: anger, fear, sadness. These feelings are natural, but they don't have to dictate your actions. Mindfulness teaches you to step back, observe your emotions, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Imagine being in a heated argument. Without mindfulness, words can spill out that you later regret. With mindfulness, you pause, breathe, and consider the best way to address the issue. This pause is the cornerstone of emotional resilience, and it is something anyone can cultivate. The Stoics believed in the power of perspective. Epictetus reminded his students, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle invites us to reframe challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, view them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. For instance, a difficult project at work may test your patience, but it can also teach you perseverance and creativity. A strained relationship can lead to greater understanding if approached with empathy and reflection. Building emotional resilience starts with small steps. Practice a daily mindfulness exercise, whether it's focused breathing, a short meditation, or journaling about your thoughts. These practices train your mind to slow down and create space between emotion and action. Over time, this space becomes a wellspring of clarity, allowing you to approach challenges with balance. Resilience isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging your feelings without letting them overwhelm you. Picture yourself standing in the rain. You can't stop the storm, but you can decide whether to let it drench you or to seek shelter until it passes. The storm, like life's challenges, is temporary. Mindfulness equips you to weather it with grace. As you navigate your challenges, remember that resilience grows with practice. Each time you pause before reacting, each time you choose a thoughtful response over a rash one, you strengthen your ability to face adversity. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and soon, what once felt overwhelming will become manageable. In the new year, let resilience be your guide. Let mindfulness become the tool that keeps you steady, no matter what life throws your way. By cultivating these habits, you'll not only navigate challenges, but emerge stronger, calmer, and more in control of your destiny. Every setback can be a step forward when viewed through the lens of resilience. The choice is always yours. What will you choose? 4. Strengthen communication skills for deeper connections. Clear and empathetic communication is the glue that holds relationships together. whether at work or home. Miscommunication creates unnecessary conflict, while thoughtful conversations build trust, foster understanding, and deepen connections. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are everywhere, the ability to truly listen and express yourself clearly has become a rare and valuable skill. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of measured, purposeful speech. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue." Words carry weight. They can heal or harm, unite or divide. For the Stoics, communication was not just about speaking, but about listening, understanding, and choosing words that align with wisdom and integrity. I once met a man at church who struggled with his relationships. He confided in me about a conflict he had with his teenage son. They argued constantly, often about small things that escalated into heated exchanges. He felt unheard, and so did his son. One Sunday, after a particularly emotional service, he decided to approach their conversations differently. Inspired by a verse about patience and understanding, he resolved to listen more and speak less. Instead of reacting with frustration, he asked his son about his feelings and perspectives. To his surprise, the tension began to ease. Their conversations became more open, and their bond, once strained, started to rebuild. This change didn't happen overnight, but it began with a single, mindful choice: to listen with empathy rather than react with emotion. His story reminded me of how Stoics approached communication, not as a tool for dominance or persuasion, but as a bridge to understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change." This humility is at the heart of Stoic communication, a willingness to prioritize truth and connection over pride. Think about your relationships. Have you ever had a conversation where you felt misunderstood, or where your words were taken the wrong way? These moments often stem not from malice, but from a lack of clarity or presence. Imagine instead approaching each conversation with intentionality, choosing your words carefully, listening fully, and responding thoughtfully. Such an approach not only reduces misunderstandings, but strengthens trust and mutual respect. To cultivate this skill, start with active listening. When someone speaks, resist the urge to interrupt or mentally prepare your response. Instead, focus entirely on their words, their tone, and even their body language. Reflect on what you hear to confirm your understanding. For example, saying, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed," can show that you truly hear and validate their emotions. Another cornerstone of effective communication is using I statements. Instead of saying, "You never help around the house," which can feel accusatory, try, "I feel overwhelmed when I'm handling everything on my own." This approach invites collaboration rather than defensiveness. It shifts the conversation from blame to a shared effort to solve the problem. The Stoics also teach us the value of silence. Seneca observed, "Silence is a lesson in itself. Not every thought needs to be spoken, and sometimes the best response is none at all." In moments of anger or frustration, pause before you speak. This pause creates space to reflect on your emotions and choose words that align with your values rather than your impulses. In 2025, let communication be your tool for building deeper connections. Approach every interaction with the intent to understand rather than to win. Practice humility by admitting when you're wrong, and show empathy by acknowledging the feelings of others. Over time, these habits will transform not only how you communicate, but the strength of your relationships. Each conversation is an opportunity to either strengthen a bond or weaken it. By choosing clarity, empathy, and patience, you can foster connections that bring harmony and meaning to your life. Words are powerful. Use them wisely. Who in your life could benefit from hearing them today? 5. Foster relationships with presence and boundaries. Meaningful relationships are the cornerstone of a fulfilling life, but they don't happen by chance. They require time, attention, and respect. Without clear boundaries, even the strongest connections can become strained, leaving you feeling drained instead of supported. Nurturing relationships with presence and boundaries ensures that the people in your life bring joy, growth, and mutual understanding. The Stoics believe that the quality of our relationships reflects the quality of our inner world. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." For the Stoics, relationships were not just about proximity, but about alignment. choosing connections that elevate your character and help you live according to your values. Presence and boundaries are two sides of the same coin. Presence allows you to fully engage with others, while boundaries protect your energy and ensure interactions remain healthy and balanced. A close friend of mine learned this lesson in a deeply personal way. For years, she tried to please everyone: friends, family, colleagues. She said yes to every request, even when it left her exhausted. One day she broke down, realizing she had nothing left to give. A mentor reminded her that her relationships didn't need her constant sacrifice, but her authentic presence. Slowly, she started saying no to commitments that didn't align with her priorities. With the space she reclaimed, she could give her full attention to the people who mattered most. She found that these deeper, intentional connections brought her more peace and joy than trying to please everyone ever had. Think about your own life. How often are you truly present in your interactions? In a world full of distractions, it's easy to be physically with someone while your mind is elsewhere. Real presence means putting away your phone, listening without interrupting, and focusing fully on the person in front of you. When you are present, you communicate a powerful message: you matter. Boundaries are equally essential. They're not about shutting people out, but creating a framework for mutual respect. Imagine a colleague who constantly asks for your help but never reciprocates. Without boundaries, resentment builds and the relationship suffers. With boundaries, you can offer support while maintaining your well-being. For example, you might say, "I'm happy to help with this project, but I'll need to focus on my tasks after that." This clarity fosters healthier, more respectful interactions. The Stoics understood the importance of protecting one's energy. Epictetus advised, "Keep company only with those who improve you." While not every relationship needs to be deeply transformational, each one should align with your values and support your growth. When you set boundaries, you create space for these kinds of connections to thrive. Let's return to my friend. As she started setting boundaries, something unexpected happened. Some people drifted away, unable to accept her newfound clarity, Kara. But those who stayed, those who respected her limits and appreciated her authenticity, became her strongest allies. Her relationships grew richer and more fulfilling, built on a foundation of mutual understanding and respect. In your life, you may hesitate to set boundaries, fearing rejection or conflict. But boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges. They guide others in how to interact with you while preserving your energy for what matters most. Start small. Identify one area where you feel overextended and set a clear, kind limit. For example, if a friend often calls late at night, let them know you'll return their call the next day instead. This small step can transform the dynamic, ensuring both of you feel respected and valued. Presence and boundaries go hand in hand. One without the other creates an imbalance. Presence without boundaries can lead to burnout, while boundaries without presence can feel cold and detached. Together, they create relationships that are both deeply connected and sustainably healthy. As you move through 2025, consider the relationships that matter most to you. Are you fully present with those people? Are there boundaries you need to set to ensure those connections remain strong and balanced? By fostering relationships with presence and boundaries, you not only nurture the people who uplift you, but also create a life filled with meaning, growth, and harmony. Who in your life could benefit from your presence, and what boundary could help you be fully there? 6. Align your goals with personal values. When your goals align with your core beliefs, life takes on a sense of purpose that goes beyond mere accomplishment. It's not just about ticking boxes or achieving milestones. It's about creating a life that reflects who you truly are. Misaligned goals can lead to frustration and burnout, but when your ambitions resonate with your values, motivation becomes sustainable and the journey becomes fulfilling. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This advice reminds us to start with clarity about who we are and what we stand for. Goals that spring from this foundation have the power to transform, not just our actions, but our entire perspective on life. A close friend of mine discovered this truth during a pivotal moment in his life. For years, he pursued a high-paying corporate career, driven by external expectations rather than his own desires. On paper, he was successful, but deep down, he felt disconnected and restless. One weekend, while helping at a local charity event, he experienced a profound sense of fulfillment. It was a sharp contrast to the emptiness he often felt at work. He realized that what truly mattered to him was contributing to his community and making a difference in people's lives. This insight sparked a shift. He didn't quit his job overnight, but he began aligning his professional life with his values. He started small, volunteering regularly and taking on projects at work that allowed him to mentor younger colleagues. Over time, he transitioned into a role with a nonprofit organization, blending his skills with his passion for service. For the first time in years, he felt energized and aligned with his purpose. This journey reflects a Stoic principle, living in harmony with your values. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Action, guided by reflection, is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. It's not enough to know your values, you must act on them. Think about your own life. Are your current goals a reflection of what you truly value, or are they shaped by external pressures? Perhaps you're pursuing a career path because it's what others expect, or maybe you've set goals that look impressive but don't inspire you. Imagine shifting your focus to goals that resonate with your core beliefs. How much more meaningful and fulfilling would your efforts feel? Aligning your goals with your values doesn't mean abandoning practicality. It means taking the time to reflect on what truly matters and making deliberate choices. Start by identifying your top 3 values, things like family, creativity, service, or personal growth. Then, evaluate your current goals. Do they support these values? If not, consider how you can adjust or reframe them to create alignment. For instance, if one of your core values is family, but your current work schedule leaves little time for loved ones, it might be time to rethink your priorities. This doesn't necessarily mean changing jobs. It could mean setting boundaries at work or creating rituals that ensure quality time with family. Small adjustments can have a profound impact when they're rooted in values. The Stoics also teach us to avoid being swayed by societal expectations. Seneca warned, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Having the courage to pursue goals that align with your values, even if they defy convention, is essential for a fulfilling life. As you align your goals with your values, you'll find that your motivation becomes more consistent. Challenges will feel less daunting because you'll know that your efforts are meaningful. Instead of chasing external validation, you'll be anchored by an inner sense of purpose. Let your goals reflect the person you truly want to be. Take the time to reflect, adjust, and act with intention. As you do, you'll not only achieve more, but also experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace. Your goals are not just tasks to complete, they are opportunities to live a life of meaning, growth, and authenticity. What values will guide your next steps? 7. Redefine balance by prioritizing rest and joy. True balance is the harmony between work, rest, and joy. When any one of these is neglected, life starts to feel unsteady. Overworking without rest leads to burnout, while rest without purpose leaves us stagnant. Joy, the often overlooked element, recharges our spirit and reminds us why we strive in the first place. Balance doesn't mean doing everything equally. It means giving each part of your life the attention it needs to thrive. The Stoics understood the importance of balance, even in their relentless pursuit of discipline and virtue. Seneca wrote, "We must indulge the mind and from time to time allow it the leisure which is its food and strength." For the Stoics, rest wasn't laziness. It was a deliberate act of care for the mind and body, allowing them to return to challenges with clarity and vigor. Without balance, even the most driven individual risks losing their way. I experienced this firsthand a few years ago. My schedule was packed, meetings, deadlines, and endless commitments. I was proud of my productivity, but constantly felt drained. Then came a weekend when everything changed. I had planned to work through Saturday, but a friend invited me on a hike. Reluctantly, I agreed. The fresh air, the silence of the woods, and the simplicity of walking without a goal were transformative. For the first time in months, I felt at peace. That single day of rest reignited my creativity and motivation. and it taught me the value of stepping back to move forward. This experience mirrors a key Stoic principle, the idea that life is not meant to be endured but lived fully. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the fleeting nature of life, reminding us to savor its moments of joy. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. To the Stoics, joy wasn't a distraction, but an integral part of a virtuous and balanced life. Think about your routine. Are you constantly working, pushing through fatigue, believing rest is a luxury you can't afford? Imagine what would happen if you paused, not just to sleep, but to truly rest your mind and soul. Perhaps it's a quiet evening with a book, a walk in the park, or simply an hour spent doing something you love. These moments are not wasted time. They are investments in your well-being and productivity. Balance doesn't require a complete life overhaul. It begins with small, intentional choices. Start by setting boundaries around your work. If your job spills into every hour of your day, create a cutoff time and honor it. Use that space for activities that rejuvenate you, whether it's spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or simply resting. Protecting this time isn't selfish, it's necessary for long-term success. The Stoics also teach us to let go of perfectionism. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Perfectionism often drives us to overwork, believing we must achieve more to prove our worth. But freedom comes from recognizing that we are already enough, and balance allows us to express our best selves without being consumed by endless striving. As I continued to embrace balance in my life, I noticed the ripple effects. My work improved, not because I was working more, but because I was working better. My relationships grew stronger as I became more present and engaged. Even my health improved as my stress levels decreased. Balance, I realized, was not just a goal. It was a foundation for everything else. In 2025, let balance guide your decisions. Prioritize rest as an act of strength, not weakness. Celebrate moments of joy as essential parts of your journey. And remember, balance is not about perfection. It's about creating a rhythm that sustains you. What small step can you take today to restore harmony in your life? Start there and let it grow. 8. Micro-growth for long-term success. Small, consistent improvements hold the key to transformative change. Life is not shaped by massive, sudden leaps, but by the accumulation of small and intentional actions over time. These incremental steps may seem insignificant at first, but they compound, gradually leading to extraordinary results. Whether it's a habit, a skill, or a mindset, consistency creates momentum and turns potential into progress. The Stoics understood this principle well. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, said, "Well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself." This idea encourages us to value steady, disciplined effort over the allure of instant results. In a world obsessed with quick fixes, Stoicism reminds us that true growth is a process, requiring patience and persistence. Reflect on the earlier stories we've discussed. The man who prioritized his health didn't overhaul his lifestyle overnight. He started with 10-minute walks and improved one meal at a time. The friend who aligned his goals with his values didn't transform his career in a single leap. He took small steps to shift his priorities and actions. These examples reveal a common thread. Change begins with manageable, consistent actions, not overwhelming resolutions. Imagine someone who feels stuck in life, perhaps overwhelmed by the weight of responsibilities or frustrated by a lack of progress. They might dream of a drastic transformation, but feel paralyzed by the enormity of the task. Now picture them focusing instead on one small improvement each day. Maybe it's reading 5 pages of a book, saving $10 a week, or spending 2 minutes reflecting on gratitude. These actions might seem trivial in isolation, but over weeks and months, they accumulate into significant growth. That's the power of micro-growth. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized this, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By breaking down goals into smaller, actionable steps, we reclaim control over our progress. Each small action becomes a deliberate choice, aligning us with our larger purpose. In my own life, I've seen this principle at work. When I decided to improve my communication skills, I didn't try to master every aspect at once. Instead, I committed to one specific habit: listening actively in every conversation. Over time, this single focus enhanced not only my relationships, but also my ability to convey ideas with clarity and empathy. The small steps I took daily created a ripple effect, leading to growth far beyond my initial intention. Microgrowth isn't just about action, it's also about mindset. It requires the humility to embrace imperfection and the patience to celebrate small wins. The Stoics remind us that progress, not perfection, is the goal. Seneca observed, "He who is brave is free." This freedom comes from releasing the pressure to achieve instant results and trusting the process of steady improvement. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, begin with one small habit. Choose something simple yet meaningful, such as journaling a single thought each morning or dedicating 5 minutes to focused breathing. Track your progress, not as a measure of success or failure, but as a way to appreciate the cumulative impact of your efforts. Over time, you'll notice how these small actions build momentum and inspire further growth. In 2025, let microgrowth be your guiding principle. Reject the myth of overnight success and embrace the power of small, consistent changes. Whether it's improving your health, finances, relationships, or mindset, focus on the next step rather than the entire journey. Every small action you take brings you closer to the life you envision. Stoic philosophy reminds us that greatness is not found in dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, steady pursuit of virtue and purpose. By committing to microgrowth, you align with this timeless wisdom, creating a foundation for lasting success. What small step can you take today that your future self will thank you for? Begin there and trust the process. As we stand on the threshold of a new year, these 8 goals are more than just resolutions. They are a guide to living with intention, resilience, and meaning. Each principle we've explored, from prioritizing health and aligning goals with personal values to fostering relationships and embracing microgrowth, is rooted in timeless Stoic wisdom. They remind us that life is not about perfection, but about progress, made one thoughtful step at a time. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our mindset, and our responses to life's challenges. By practicing these small, intentional habits daily, you begin to reshape your life, creating a foundation of balance, strength, and fulfillment. These are not abstract ideas. They are practical tools you can use every day to navigate life's uncertainties with calmness and clarity. In 2025, let these lessons become part of your daily practice. Start with one goal that resonates most deeply with you and build from there. Reflect on your progress, celebrate your small wins, and remain patient with the process. Remember, true growth is a journey, not a destination. Your story matters. How have you overcome challenges? What lessons have you learned along the way? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's create a community of support and inspiration. Together, we can uplift one another and turn these principles into a shared way of life. As you move forward, carry these goals with you, not as a checklist, but as guiding lights. Practice them daily, and you'll find yourself stepping into a life that reflects your highest values and potential. The journey begins now. Take the first step today.